Hey everyone, good to see you. Donny here, live on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. Now on YouTube, make sure to follow me on LinkedIn and follow me on YouTube and follow me on Instagram as well. Daily posts on entrepreneurship, startups, innovation, and in motivation on LinkedIn and Instagram, and then live here on LinkedIn every Wednesday 2:30. Also now on YouTube, and check out my YouTube channel for all of the saved interviews. I'll be uploading them the coming couple of weeks. Today for my coffee break, I hope you've got your coffee. I have got my small cup of coffee as usual. I hope you got your coffee, because today we're going to speak to Samer. Samer is the founder and CEO of Furhat Robotics, and I'll see if we can get Samer on the call as well. Here we go, and here we go. Hi, Samer.
Hey, hi, Donny.
Hey, good to see you, sir. How are you?
Good to see you too. I'm good.
Indeed.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't seen you for quite some time. I haven't met you, even though I've seen you. I mean, you're everywhere. But I mean, everything okay? I mean, how's things going on with Furhat?
No, it's been good. Yeah, we haven't met for a while. I guess we haven't met anyone for a while. So, but things are good. It's it's been a year of change, I guess, and really trying to adapt and figure out how to run our companies. But a lot of learnings, a lot of growth, and obviously a lot of waiting until the world comes back to normal.
Of course. Well, I'm really happy you could join me here for this coffee break today. For anybody joining us now, short version is my name is Donny. Every week on Wednesdays I have this short coffee break where I either interview some people or speak about some interesting topics about startups, entrepreneurship, innovation, whatever it could be. And hopefully we will have a number of live people on the call as well, so asking questions. But coming back to you, Samer, and coming back to Furhat, I can see Furhat in the background there.
Yeah, I tried to adjust the view to. I just arrived to the office. I wanted to take this, if I could, from the office to just have Furhat.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I've actually downloaded a couple of. I have some links from you that I've used to. We could show something. There's one on the website, the main, the Furhat kind of sales pitch thing. I think we could just start with that one. It's just a short thing, so people know what we're talking about. Excellent. And then you got Furhat Robotics there in the end as well. Perfect. Very nice. That's a wonderful little sales pitch movie there. And I mean, there are so many questions that come up when it comes to, how do you come up with the idea of the whole, changing everything around? The whole, because you have a backlit mask. And I mean, what is that? The serendipitous idea of this wonderful. It's like I'm not going to say a classical, but it's this wonderful, inventive step of let's do things the opposite way. How did that sort of? No.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe I can show you here. Furhat is actually back projected, so there is light projected on a mask that can be detached and replaced by other masks, so you can change the personality of the robot, but it's a robot in 3D, so it's a physical robot that triggers your brain in a way similar to how when we meet people in the physical space compared to talking to them right now like this on on a 2D screen. So that's really the effect we wanted to do. I mean, the background of the, I usually say that Furhat Robotics is really much more about humans than it is about robots. The background comes from we started really with a lot of fascination about why people like to talk to other people. Human communication, human perception, how do we engage with others, what happens to our brain when we meet people, how do we look at faces, how do we read faces, and we did a lot of research in that field, and then we realized that there's a big effect of meeting someone in the physical world, which really simulates how humans evolved in the cave. Kind of, we really met people in the physical world. We had distance to them. We understood our relationships in the physical space, and that became very important for our survival and for building social trust and connection with people, for group interactions. And these are the things that we really wanted to understand about human perception. And then when we were researchers, we were building tools to try to kind of and dig deeper and use computers to answer these questions. We worked with a lot of animated characters, so things that you see in computer games and the movie industry, things that animate and talk to you on your screen. But then we thought, oh, what if we take that same character and we project it on a mask? So we can, instead of building a robot that is very slow and with lots of motors and very heavy and noisy, we can get the same outcome of something that's alive and very expressive, but still with using computer graphics, which is very far beyond what physical motors can do today. So we combined these two things. For some reason, we had a mannequin in our lab, and we had some projectors, and we're like, oh, let's see how that feels. So we just put the projector and projected it on a mask, and suddenly it felt like the mannequin was alive. When it blinked, you really felt like, oh, there's something happens to the brain that makes you connect to that mannequin in a very different way. From there on, we, step by step, we decided to build Furhat, and
and that's, I since I know you for a long time, and I've followed also the development of Furhat for a long time, since you started at KTH, where I also work. And I also know the name Furhat has, it came from that early stage of development, right?
Exactly. No, the name Furhat is has a lot to do with Sweden and where the robot was built. So it was also very serendipitous. We first appearance for Furhat was in the London Science Museum in December, and we had promised to show the robot, but it was just an idea. So we got the first prototype, very hacky, with lots of cables and very prototypish, and on Sunday, and we were leaving to London on Monday and to show it at the London Science Museum. And we were like, okay, we need something to cover the cables and hide all the mess. And we looked around and we found a Furhat sitting. One of the master students had forgotten his Furhat, so we took the Furhat, we put it on the robot, and we were like, okay, this will do the trick. We took it to. We didn't have a company yet at the time. We took it to London. We showed it, and everyone was, talking about the Furhat, and everyone was like, oh, why? People would say, oh, did you see the robot with the Furhat? And people would ask, why does it have a Furhat? And oh, this is the robot that comes from Sweden. It's so cold in Sweden, even robots need to wear Furhat.
Of course, it has to wear a Furhat. And I love that story, because it's that's something that I think is it's also a big part of the heritage of the company, and the heritage of innovation, and just making things work. And I love that story. And you actually mentioned you were looking at on screen, and you were looking at comic figures and gaming and things. And I actually managed to. I saw a film with the collaboration with is it Bandai?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bandai Namco.
Yeah, it's that one. And and that was actually, and that's from this last year, I thought. And I love that movie, the short clip, because it was really sort of, wow, this is, I can really see this. And let's just show, it's a short clip, so we'll show that one as well here. Hang on.
起動しました。一緒に遊びましょう。こちらへどうぞ。
Awesome. I mean, suddenly the whole world opens up with, you know, all of these ideas that could be. Oh, we get some questions in as well. Here, let's see. Ebba, what can people in business learn from Furhat and the early prototyping phase? What can we tell? What would you say?
I mean, yeah, there are things about Furhat that are common within many other kind of ideas. What we're trying to do with Furhat is really kind of going back to this humanity's dream to build ourselves and build robots that are in our own image. But the rest, if you look at culture, like the role of robots hasn't been very exciting in movies and computer games, right? The fascination of building ourselves is very exciting, but then we haven't really thought about all the applications that can be built on top of robots. So what happened to us is that we were very fascinated by this. We wanted really to you know, Furhat is really at the meeting point between art and science, and there's so many ways you can use it. Kind of similar to Bandai Namco, that's a very artistic project, but you can put it in train stations and help travelers with directions, or you can have it teach you a foreign language and so on. But there are many ideas, and Furhat in a way is a platform. Right, so we said in the early beginning that instead of going and saying, hey, we want to build a specific applications for the robot, there are potentially thousands of things you can build on it, similar to the phone or to your virtual reality goggles. And the best way to do that is to try to get the product on the market as soon as possible. So even though it's a prototype, just put it in the hands of people, and there are enough people that are early adopters and excited about this that they will probably just join us in our own exploration and come up with new ideas and show us how we should build the product, right? So since day one, we kind of, before we built the product, we sold it.
And sorry for interrupting you there, Samer, but that's interesting, because I mean, I know that is a problem for early stage companies that have this wide scope of technology. And it's like, so, okay, should we go completely wide and let people build something? But will they get it? And do we need to build an application at least to show something and risk narrowing it down too much? I mean, what was your sort of reasoning there?
I mean, that philosophy is an ongoing conversation at Furhat. After years of doing what we do, we still kind of revisit that question every strategy session and talk about, how wide and how narrow should we go, and what did we learn from all the experiments that people have done with Furhat. But maybe one of the things that I learned is that, you need to focus on one vertical. But that vertical could also be a very wide vertical. So if you want to focus on like people that like prototyping, the early adopters, the high-tech market, the rich, but they're not really they're not going to build big applications and bring it to the market, but they will really explore it. Then focus on that and be very clear that our vertical is the R&D community, and build something for the R&D. Don't expect them to build billion-dollar applications on top of it, but and don't kind of plan internally that that's what we want them to do. But that market could be 100,000 customers. And be very clear. Okay, we're not going to dig very deep in a single application, but we will focus on a specific type of customer, and that customer is an early adopter innovator.
Okay, and we're getting more questions on that topic as well. We have one from Charlotta here as well. Hi, Charlotta. Where is the robot used so far? For example, in schools and hospitals. I mean, what is the first natural applications for it?
Yeah. So right now, what we do is we do pilots. So we work usually with, say, if it's in healthcare, then we would choose a company in healthcare and partner with them to bring Furhat to a specific use case within healthcare. But then we do these as pilots. We try to do early user tests and experiments, but we're not focusing on building very big businesses within these. We're at the early stages. Still, kind of the industry is very, very early. So we're in many ways still in the explorative phase. But the early kind of usual suspects for robots, obviously, is receptionists and robots in shopping malls or in train stations or in airports, with the idea that people have emotions, and when they're traveling in an airport and stressed or they speak a foreign language, a robot can be very helpful in not only providing you with information like a touch screen, but maybe noticing that, oh, this is a stressed traveler, I should be very fast in telling them where to go, or this is an angry traveler, I need to be very calm and nice. So we focus on these applications where social connection and emotion is very important. So within hospitals, we have a few use cases. Some are very early stage and very inspirational, and some that are very practical. So we've done a partnership with Merck Pharmaceuticals to do a screening kiosk called Petra. So there's a kiosk that can be deployed in a shopping mall or in a clinic, and then you step into the kiosk, you meet Petra, which is the robot, and Petra does a Q&A questionnaire with you but uses a very calm, friendly, trustworthy voice and personality, and tries to screen you for different conditions where conversation is important, like memory loss or stress or diabetes, conditions that just by asking people questions and getting honest answers, you can screen that. So we've done that in healthcare. In schools, we've also done some experiments with Stockholm Stad. So we've, a big use case for Furhat is a tool for students to learn how to program. It's a very interesting tool because you can program a human kind of behavior into it. So that's been a very.
I remember having a discussion with Furhat when he or she or it was trying to teach me geography. I failed that test miserably, by the way, which of course gave. I love that because I failed. Furhat was quizzing me on geography, and I was completely failing where to put these cities to the countries. And Furhat was going, no. No. I'm sorry, Donnie. This isn't. This isn't good enough. I was like,
yeah.
It felt like I'm not. And it felt just like it's interesting how quickly you adapt to the conversation of this kind of interface. It's really fascinating. I'm getting lots of questions here. Let's get some. So Jonas Glimden, similar question to Carlotta. Industrial applications, initial commercial. We talked about that. We talked about hospitals. I know that Jonas works in industrial robots, so he's probably more into the the kind of ABB, Kuga kind of things. Anything in that kind of sector that you've been looking at or working with?
So in the industrial, what's called collaborative robotics, or robots that can collaborate with the worker in a factory on doing tasks. This is more on the research side, still quite early, but we've explored use cases around being able to interact with the manufacturing robots or assembly robots using not only. Today, what happens is that when you have a robot arm in a factory, there's a cage around it, or if it's a collaborative arm, then there's maybe a screen. There's a box of maybe screws if it's trying to pick up screws, but then when the screws are over, there's a warning on the screen that says, "Oh, fill the box with screws." And what can happen is that we can make these robots much more interactive. So you can talk with the robot while it's doing its job. You can see where the robot is looking, so you can predict what's happening, and then the robot might be able to talk to you and say, "Hey, Donnie, I'm running out of screws in 15 minutes. Could you please help me when you have a minute?" Which is a much more collaborative way to do it than to show a red button on a screen telling you to fill the box. And so ideas around there on the assembly.
It's fascinating, and I know that. And please correct me now. I'm probably wrong, but I know for a fact. No, not for a fact. I remember, if I can remember correctly, that Furhat is like the only interface. It can actually hold like a conversation with up 3 people at the same time. It understands 3 different people in front of it at the same time, and it will swivel its head, and it will nod, and it will understand who's talking to it as well, and interact accordingly. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's this problem that you mentioned is really a key reason why robots are not there yet out in society, is that when in real situations, the world is very, very complex, very chaotic. If a robot is supposed to sell you a burger at a burger shop, then the robot needs to understand that there's a line where people stand and queue, and that some of these people are in groups together, and some of these people don't know each other. And maybe, oh, there's 3 people in front of me, but 2 of them are kids, and this is the dad, and I should talk to the dad instead of the kids if I'm going to confirm the order. And these social situations are very, very complex. And maybe the kids are talking to their dad, not to the robot, but the robot needs to know, oh, they're not talking to me, I shouldn't answer. And so these are the things that we really wanted to solve and dig deep. And when we do breakthroughs in these areas, robots have a bigger chance on coming to society. So that's being able to perceive groups of people is something we worked on quite early. So Furhat has a camera that can track up to as many people as can fit in the camera view. So we can track up to 10, 15 people at the same time. And then it has a microphone array, so it knows where the sound is coming from. So by matching where the sound comes from and where people are standing, we can know, oh, this person is now talking to me, or this person is talking to someone else, and manage that situation. Which is, as you say, this is the only robot on the market that can do that level of processing.
Awesome. Let's see, we have lots of comments here. Ali asked us something that we were just talking about, how interactive is Furhat, but I think we also kind of answered that now. It's very interactive. With my experience, it knows when you're in the room, and it will say, hi Donnie, how are you doing? Which is interesting and can be a bit uncanny as well. Let's see, another question from Charlotta here as well. What is your dream goals with Furhat? What is the,
So the way we really run the companies towards our goal is that we see thousands of different applications for robots that will change people's lives in many ways to the better. And we want to be the company that can build that community of, hundreds of thousands of developers, similar to how, say, Apple built it for the iPhone, or Facebook is building it for VR, and build that community and see people building and bringing to the market all these applications. And eventually, the philosophical idea of building a robot comes also from this. For me, for example, as a founder, there is a kind of a deep curiosity to understand humans better, and by building robots, that opens up a lot of very interesting questions about, what are we supposed to do, and who are we, and what makes us unique, and so on. So by building this technology, I think we will have a really good conversation and much better understanding for where humans sit in the between different technologies.
I see also we have David with us here from West Coast USA. So it's very like 5:30. Well, it's almost getting up to 6 a.m. In the West Coast USA. Thank you, David. Yes, the robot is simply amazing, and it has so many uses. We can just nod and say yes to that. And also from London on the East Coast, here comes the idea is to build a robot that can be customized with skill set and specific user cases, a bit like giving robots personalities and character. That is spot on. Exactly. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. Thank you, Lyndon, for that comment. One of my favorite comments that I've heard you say, and excuse me for quoting you now then, historically, is that you made the analogy with Star Wars, where you had this. Which one is CP3O and which one is R2D? Now CP3O is the golden,
human-like,
speaks human language and can interact with humans, and then he in his turn then interacts with the other robots.
Right, exactly.
And that kind of humanoid interface towards machines is some way of putting this as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the word interface is really the key that we're trying. When you think of your phone, or if your tablet or your VR goggles, or any device, your joystick in a gaming console, these are interfaces between kind of the digital world and our way of interacting. So we interact with touch, with vision, with speech, but the digital world interacts with ones and zeros, right? And then this idea of how do we find a language that is very natural for humans to interact with the zeros and ones is where computer interfaces come. So 3CPO is a human-like robot that on one side talks the zeros and ones language, and one side talks the human language. VR, of course, is the same way, right? Trying to immerse us as if we're in reality, but it's still kind of a virtual software kind of that sits on the back. So the dream of a robot is that instead of building devices for humans that we need to learn, instead we go back to really the cave or the evolution and say, the best communication system for humans is this one that we've developed over 1 million years and what we use very efficiently from the moment we're born. And let's build a computer device that masters that instead of building a device that we need to master. And that will potentially allow us to express ourselves emotionally and psychologically in very different ways than when we interact with other devices.
It's interesting that you say that you're learning more about humanity by building a robot.
Absolutely.
Which is fascinating in itself. I'm looking at the time here. It's a coffee break. We ask people to take time out of their day and have a cup of coffee and join us. Samer, I am so very grateful for you taking time out of your day and having a chat with me and everybody else out there. Thank you so much. Is there
My pleasure.
And wonderful to see you again. Is there anything else you want to share with the world before we say thank you, Samer, for this time?
Well, thanks, Donny. Thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope we poked a little bit of curiosity for everyone to kind of read a little bit and get a little bit more hands-on with the social robots.
Oh, wonderful! Check out FurhatRobotics.com online. Follow them on LinkedIn, and also check out their website. It's super cool things happening. New videos being uploaded to YouTube on a frequent basis with new fun collaborations going on as well. Fascinating things going on. And for everyone else, not for everyone else, but for everyone watching, I just wanted to remind you that please follow me on YouTube. This is Donny, the Wednesday coffee break today with the Samer, founder and CEO of Furhat Robotics. Every Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. Swedish, we go live with a coffee break. Thank you, everyone, for all of the comments as well. Thank you, Carlotta. Thank you, Ali. That was awesome. Yes, I will agree with Ali. He said that was awesome. Thank you all very much. Let's end this with a last. Let's do this. I will play the first movie again on Furhat Robotics that I showed in the beginning, and we will end the call with that. Samer, thank you so much, and Furhat in the background, thank you so much as well. Take care. Have a fantastic week. Everyone out there, have a great day. Take care.